Hello everyone and welcome to another Top 5 Records video and another one in the series in which I'm taking a closer look at the full discography of Led Zeppelin. And today we have arrived at their 8th studio album, Into the Outdoor. And this is the one that gets the fans divided, though they are not divided for a very long time. What's the story behind In Through the Outdoor? Because on this record, everything seems to be different. The first thing is, this record was recorded in tax exile. Led Zeppelin noticed that if they were recording in the UK, they would pay so much taxes um, that it was hard to make the amount of money that they desired to make. So they moved to Sweden. They went to the Polar Studios in, I believe it's Stockholm, but what I do know for sure is that is the studio of ABBA, which is, of course, very interesting that the one of the toughest, hardest bands in the business during the 70s went into the studio of ABBA. Now, I know ABBA is soft pop, but I do really admire them. I think Björn and Benny are brilliant musicians, and they made a lot of great songs. But the difference from Zeppelin to ABBA, I mean, it couldn't be bigger. But they did. Thing is, recording did not go smoothly. Why? This is a record on which Jimmy Page was not very often in the studio because he was struggling a serious heroin addiction. Also, John Bonham was struggling with his own addiction, an alcohol addiction, and I think it's obvious to say that Jimmy Page came out of his addiction better than John Bonham because his alcohol addiction became him fatal. 2 years after the recording of this album, he died choking in his own vomit. And the thing is, I read the story of one of the um, crew members or a friend of him who was with him around that night, and that while he was drinking a lot of screwdrivers or triple screwdrivers, at least the amount of, I think it's vodka in a screwdriver. I'm not a cocktail guy. Was triple or quadruple the amount, and that he was complaining or that he was afraid of his own qualities as a drummer. And when I heard that, I was just astonished. One of the most impressive, amazing drummers in the world was insecure about his capacities as a drummer. So that was one of the things that he was battling with his alcohol addiction. So what happened? Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones were mostly in the studio, and John Paul Jones is the one with, I believe, the most writing credits on his album. I believe 6 or 7 of the songs were written or co-written by him, and that is a complete different balance within the structures of Led Zeppelin, which usually, or at least until the point of Physical Graffiti, it was much more a Robert Plant, Jimmy Page based operation. And John Paul Jones' involvement did change things for the better as a writing partner. I mean, Physical Graffiti is a masterpiece. This record, however, is different. He was very much intrigued by synthesizers, and that results in this being, well, it might be too far to say it's a synthesizer album, but the synthesizers are very, very present. What does that leave left of the Led Zeppelin brand, the mark, the sound? And my honest conclusion is not a lot. Not a lot. It just doesn't vibe the way other records do. Um, if I take a look at the song list, for example, um, I might talk you through my experiences with this album. I didn't put it on at all when I encountered Led Zeppelin digitally. So when I found the first UK, and this is the first UK pressing a couple of years ago, I thought, you know what, I'll give it another shot. I'll give it I'll give it my first shot. And I bought this album, first UK, so the sound is pretty good. And it just didn't do it for me. It just didn't do it for me. I didn't hate it. It's not a bad album. The thing is, up until this point, every Led Zeppelin album was good to pretty good to astonishing to mesmerizingly beautiful and changing the course of music. And the last category, seriously, the last category, mesmerizingly beautiful, changing the course of music, that's more than half of the albums. So you have an impossible competition. This ain't bad, but it's not good either. It's mediocre. And when I take a look at the songs, here on the inner sleeve, you get a track list. In the Evening, Southbound Soiree, Fool in the Rain, Hot Dog, Carusa Lumbra, All My Love, and I'm Gonna Crawl. I can't honestly say that one of the songs jumps out for me, or that I can make a story or tell you the experience about a certain song. And it's not because when I listened to it for the first time, I stopped listening. No, because of this series, because I'm going through the Led Zeppelin records in chronological order, I listened to it again. And most of the time, when I'm going to do a video, I give it one spin. But I gave it a spin and I thought, I'm not sure what I'm going to say about this. I gave it another spin. I gave it two spins so I could go into more detail, but just nothing of this record sticks to me. It's all so much different. John Paul Jones is interested in synthesizers, and Robert Plant, I believe he chose the title because he was going through a horrible phase of mourning after the passing of his son a year prior to the recording of this record. Um, that changed definitely something in the mood, obviously. Um, for that matter, if John Bonham and Jimmy Page are not there, and the other half are not truly themselves, or in a different momentum, you do understand. I mean, it's a very likely explanation for why this is just not. I can't say it's not a real Led Zeppelin album because Plant's voice is unrecognizable. I mean, it's very recognizable. And although it might be the same band, it's not the same vibe. It's not the same sound. This is the moment where, for me, Led Zeppelin stops being Led Zeppelin. So I'm curious, what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave a comment below and I'll see you in my next video.